Okay, good evening, ladies. Welcome back. First and foremost, I would like to thank our organizer, Esther. Thank you so much for having me again. I'd like to thank all of you, Irina and Marina, and everyone else, all of you. I'm sorry if I didn't mention names, for making this happen. A very serious group and committed group, a group that wants to learn and grow. So I can't begin to thank you. It should be a great zechut for you and your families, B'ezrat Hashem. And all of you who organized, who sponsored, you know who you are. I don't know who you are. Hashem knows who you are. You chose to stay anonymous. It should be a source of bracha for you and your family, B'ezrat Hashem. I'd like to, of course, thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for allowing us to meet each other in person and to do these classes in person, not over Zoom, Baruch Hashem. So we actually booked this class a while ago. And Shalom Bayit is a big topic. I can't come so often. And I said, which topic will really, really make an impact? Like, what should I discuss? What should I prepare for? There's so many things that I can discuss. And then I said, I think I'm going to talk about emotional well-being. And then I was debating. I said, I have another topic to discuss. I was back and forth, until the tragic news. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I made up my mind. I know what I'm discussing, It's been a little bit over a week, and we're still reeling from pain. I don't think it was a loss only for those two families and for the kids. I think it's a loss for all of us. And by the way, I should mention that there should be Lili Nishmat, Miriam Bat Osnat, and all her kids and her husband, B'ezrat Hashem. They should have a nechama and siyata dishmaya to get over this pain. It happens to be that her oldest daughter and my daughter are in the same class. So I know her like that, Her other daughter is in a different class, but then it's in the same school. Never did I imagine something like this could have happened to someone like this. I just met her, a little bit over 2 months ago in our school for a PTA meeting. And she came, and with her husband, she was into her kids, asking questions, always dressed appropriately, like perfect, Perfect head covering, perfect matching outfits, and modest. Perfectly modest, like just unbelievable. Something like a true role model, February 13th was the last message I got from her. She asked me what's for homework for her kids. And that was her. Like, she was on top of her kids. She was on top of their homework. She was on top of everything. Like, she wasn't a negligent mother. And I know this for a fact. Even the principal of the school said that out of all parents, she was always with it, always there for her kids. And so when I heard the news, I don't know, like I was paralyzed. I couldn't digest it. I couldn't process it, because it's worse when you know someone. And on top of it, I heard that the kids were sent to school, which is a complete lie. That the kids witnessed everything was another lie. Well, I don't know. I hear things. So I started panicking. And I called the principal. I said, are the kids in school? I said, do you know what happened? And she was shocked when she found out, She couldn't. I said, are the kids in school? And if they are, I don't want them, imagine a kid saying this to my daughter, like, how will the kids process the Baruch Hashem? The kids were not sent. It was not done in front of kids. And all these rumors were just beyond, Anyway, that day I could not get over anything. Like, I could not do anything. I literally was paralyzed. Like, I couldn't move on. I just couldn't move on. And I'm not just saying it on my behalf. I think almost every single person that I spoke to had the same reaction. They were in a daze. Even if, as I was cooking, my mind was somewhere else. Whatever I was doing, I was just somewhere else altogether. And I think everyone was just taken aback by surprise. It was a type of tragedy that words cannot express, and we don't even have enough words to express our feelings. I'm still like that. I'm still in the daze. Every time I think about it, I'm still, that was bad. The tragedy was just unbearable, unspeakable, hard to digest, hard to process. But what happened after the tragedy, what was worse than the tragedy, was the reaction of people. What still keeps me paralyzed is the type of things that are being circulated on the social media. To me, it is worse than the tragedy itself. The type of phone calls that I got where I had to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning, I mean, just disqualifying all the garbage that's being spewed. What's this? And forget about the non-religious, I'm talking about the religious crowd. Like, what happened? What's this? I was so taken aback. Some of the people that I thought should know better, all of a sudden, like, fell so low. Like, what happened? And that really shook me up. Like, not just me, all the rabbanim. The rabbis are on fire. They're like shaking from the responses of the people, from the public. Like, what just happened? Just to share some of the things that I heard. You know why this happened? Because they had too many kids. Too many kids, that's what happens to you. You know why that happened? Because her husband wasn't there for her. He didn't help around. You know why that happened? Because the husband put the firearm on the table so she could do this to herself. Another one called me and said, not asking, but telling me, call the rabbis and tell them to forbid ladies from having kids. Who should I tell? Call the poskim. This is a new posek. This ladies became new poskim of the generation. I have to call the posek and tell them, no more kids for anymore. That's it. Another one composed a whole thing blaming an entire Bahrain community for this fallout. Bahrains are like this, Bahrains are like that. Mind you, she's a frum lady, you should know better. What happened to Shimrat al-Lashon? What happened to Lashon Hara? You're going to spew garbage about the entire community. Do you know it's impossible to do teshuvah? How are you ever going to ask a forgiveness from the entire congregation? You just put the entire community on the blacklist. How do you do that? Where's your Yirat Shamayim? Really, the Bahrain community is at fault? Kola lifestyles because he learns Torah, and this is what the Torah does. They're narcissists, these husbands, they force their wives to have kids. The rabbis, they promote this. The lady called me last night, 2 nights ago, whatever, a 75-year-old lady. She told me, Malka, I feel so bad for you. You're next on line. Why? Why am I next on line? Because she did this to herself. So I'm telling you, you're ruining your young years. You got to watch it. Another Chacham got up and said, you know how we fight this? All the ladies go out and get your nails done. Really? Really? Is that an answer to all the mental illness? Get my nails done? I mean, every day another retarded comment. Where's this coming from? I know. These responses, you should know, are bigger than the tragedy itself. These responses will bring terrible repercussions. Terrible repercussions. Especially if it's a religious-looking lady. And she's saying this. How many kids will not be born thanks to her? How many ladies are actually considering tying their tubes? How many ladies will go on birth control now? How many ladies will have an abortion within the first few months as soon as this happened? Because if you claim that this is the result of having a large family, then yeah, maybe I should get rid of it. How many families there are who are on the verge of those suicidal thoughts might consider. They're like, listen, why not? The repercussions of such responses is so irresponsible. It's so irresponsible. And my question to all these people, what are your facts? What are your facts? Are you a top psychiatrist dealing with suicide cases on a daily basis to draw down those kind of conclusions? Do you deal with this on a daily basis? Do you really know why people commit suicide? Were you living with the family? Do you know her up close? Do you know her husband? You don't know anything about them. Why do you assume this? Why are you assuming such negative things? And the answer is two. There are two answers as to why people are spewing so much negativity. Answer number one, ignorance. People have no idea about mental illness. They have no clue. They have no clue how mental illness works. They don't know symptoms and signs. They don't know diagnosis. They don't know anything about it. And the second reason why these people allow themselves to spew so much hatred is because deep down, the true colors came out. Those biases, those negative feelings that they had all along, carried on the inside against religious people, against rabbis, against large families, finally came out. It's very similar to what happened on October 7th. All those Gentiles that made it look like they love us, they're welcoming the Jews, they're here for us. As soon as October 7th happened, what happened? We saw the true colors. All of a sudden, the Jews became the problem. Why? Because that inner hatred, those anti-Semitic feelings, was with them all along. And it just needed a reason to come out. And I'm seeing an interesting phenomena. It's scary. The true colors of all these people are coming out. Some people are ignorant. I get it. Maybe they were in a state of shock, they didn't know better. Fine. But some people, they have so much negativity about religious lifestyle, so much biases, so much to say against rabbis. They were just looking for a reason. Like, let's just find a reason, and they're just parting away. Greed, look, people pointing fingers. And all those people who are spewing this, are they taking responsibility for her husband? How do you think the husband's going to feel listening to all this? As is, he's going through something so hard, and the kids. Now, not only she's dead, then you're going to kill him, and her parents, and the community. Like, what are you doing? Do you ever think that you're going on Facebook and spewing this nonsense, that you're going to kill the husband emotionally, the kids, the family? As soon as this came out, I was in such a state of shock. I right away contacted a posek, a well-renowned gadol. I was in a state of shock. I'm like, how do I process this? Like, I just couldn't process that. I kept talking about it, and I couldn't process. Like, it's just not going in. It's not settling, you know? And then I had to contact a top psychologist that deals with trauma, because I needed to ask, how do I relay this message to my daughter when she comes from school today? Like, what do then I did not know what she would know, what she wouldn't know. I didn't know what kids knew in her class. So I needed a proper psychological approach because my brain was shot. I couldn't think, I couldn't, you know. And it's interesting that the rabbi told me, and the psychologist, this is an unusual case. Do not try to understand it. Do not try to understand it. And the therapist, the type psychologist who deals with this on a daily basis, she deals with trauma cases. This is her job. to deal with trauma case. And she said, don't, she said, I'm an older lady. This story I never heard in my life. This kind of story I never heard. So she said, don't try to make sense, because the more you're going to try to make sense out of it, the crazier you're going to become. Put a compartment in your head that this is a unique story that usually doesn't happen.
Why are they not saying it's PPD or like?
Because it's not. It's not. PPD doesn't do this. Okay? Mental disorders are very complicated. And believe it or not, it's not even well understood by many top experts. If you ask any top expert to give me the real reason for schizophrenia, give me the real reason, tell me exactly how major depressive disorder works. Tell me exactly what goes through the mind of the suicide patient. They don't know. It's not well studied, and it's because it's impossible. It's so complicated. A lot goes into mental illness, a lot. There's a genetic factor. You know, if there's a predisposition, if these things happen in a family, then it's likely to happen again, just like any other disease. If you have cholesterol problems, then you're likely to get it. It's a fact of life. Mental illness is no different. There are hormonal imbalances. There are neurotransmitters imbalances. Do you know how many neurotransmitters there are in the brain that are responsible for your mood and for your stability and for your well-being? And not all of them are studied, and not all of them are well understood. Then there's a diet, there's a support system.
Medication and anesthesia also affects.
I'm sorry, Baba?
Medication and anesthesia as well.
Excellent. Side effects of certain medications, thyroid issues, medical issues. There's so many reasons as to why a person gets mental disorders. Exactly, it's not simple. But one thing for sure, it's not caused by a cola lifestyle. That's for sure. It's not caused by a large family, no. These things are not caused by cola lifestyle. It's not, it's a lie. Are there triggers? Maybe. But they're triggers, they're not the reason. There's a difference between triggers and reason. In other words, if a person was sick, so you trigger, it's a certain trigger and they fall. But that's not the cause, that's not what caused it. It was a trigger. But that's not the cause. There's a big difference between the cause and the trigger. Maybe there are triggers. But you cannot say that this is the cause. Look around. How many people are committing suicide? Last year alone, I know a Bahraini guy, comes from a good family, doesn't lay a finger around the house, doesn't have a wife, kids, nothing. Rich parents, rich, everything. He had everything that any normal person would want. Girlfriend, anything he wants, secular guy. Bahrain committed suicide, shot himself. How do you explain that? You know, why assume that someone else caused it? And go to psychiatric ward. Look around, all those people who are hospitalized, who are on the verge to commit suicide. They were hospitalized because they're a danger to themselves. Many of them don't have families, spouses, nothing. Why do you want to commit suicide? Why did Hollywood stars commit suicide? How do you blame a cola lifestyle for something like this? I don't get it. Do you have studies? Like, how many cola wives did this? People talk and they don't think. They don't do research. They're just talking. They're just assuming things. Why are you assuming? Open up the literature. Open up psychiatric books. You'll see. You'll see the risk factors. You see who's committing. You see the demographics. And the truth is, there's so many religious people, so many religious ladies in different communities. In Williamsburg, in Muncie, in Lakewood, in Ballpark, and they have kids one after the next. Baruch Hashem, this is the first time that the Jewish nation ever heard such a story. If this would be the cause, then we would have many more of these cases, no? Postpartum depression, yes, but suicide is a whole different, story. I want to tell you something. People who trash cola lifestyle, they don't know what they're missing out on. I have to tell you that I had the zechut, I had a privilege to get married to my husband who learned Torah, and when I was getting married, it was not in style. It was not even in style to have religious weddings in my time. Now, Baruch Hashem, it's more and more in style by religious, in our circles to have separate weddings. When I was getting married, religious weddings, they weren't so popular. You could attest to it. And Kola lifestyle was, what do you need this darmayet for, right? Completely like, what's this? Well, he's gonna learn, you're gonna take care of everything. Like, no, like, who needs his Torah? And people ask me, like, what is his Torah gonna give you? What? Okay, he learns, and then what? He's gonna become a professor, he's gonna become like, what's then? He's gonna make parnasa? No parnasa. Right. So what do you need this Torah for? And I have to tell you, ladies, on behalf of myself and on behalf of many ladies, my friends, my husband's friends who stayed in Kollel and who, some of them are still in Kollel, the lifestyle of a Kollel life is starkly different than anything you've ever seen. There is nothing compared to a Kollel lifestyle. It's a zuchut, it's a privilege, and it's an honor to be married to a guy who sits and learns. There is nothing more sweeter in this world. I'm not even talking about the next world. The benefits that the couple gains by having a husband who sits and learns, I cannot see my life any other way. The wives of the Kollel husbands, they don't have to go to sleep crying, thinking, why did my husband come home late? We know where our husbands are. If my husband comes home late, I know where he is. Either he is learning or he is discussing important issues or whatever it is. I know where he is. All wives of the Kollel husbands have that confidence. My husband's in a good place. We go to sleep knowing fully well that he's not going to bring home STDs. And don't laugh about it because I see what's going on. I see what's going on. It's terrible. We know that our husbands don't have men's night out and get high on things. What a relief. That in itself is like, wow, I know where my husband is. He's learning. All his friends are normal. They watch their eyes. They don't talk to other girls. They avoid other companies that are not right. They come home. They do homework with the kids. They pick up the kids. They drop off the kids. They help their wives. Wife gets sick. They go to the hospital with her. They don't dump her to the mom. You go to your mom when you get well, come back to me. What is this? I only need a healthy wife. The minute she's sick, goodbye. What is this? What kind of attitude is this? Kollel guys, they don't do this. Through thick and thin, they stay with their wives. Through thick and thin, they take care of them. They're there for their kids. They do homework. They meet emotional needs, physical needs of their wives. And by the way, this was testified yesterday. I was shocked to hear that rabbis got up. Rabbis who were involved in the case, they said. Yes. Rav Israeli got up and said, thank you to the husband for being an amazing husband. For months on end, he stayed up at night with her, listening to her issues, dealing with them, waking up early in the morning, taking the kids to school so she can sleep. Where's this nonsense coming from? Were you there in the family? Like, we're talking about people who are involved with them. And people are trashing Kollel lifestyle. Chas v'shalom, what are you saying? There is nothing like having a husband who sits and learns. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift that you can't buy with money. Actually, you could by supporting them. I do not see my life in any other way. My friends, just to have the thought that my husband's in a good place with the right people, doing the right things, it's a blessing. That in itself is a blessing. And thanks to who? Thanks to Hashem, because He gave us the Torah, the Holy Torah. By learning the Torah, the guy knows how to behave. The guy understands what it takes to be a good husband, how to treat his wife, how to treat the kids. He understands his role in marriage. That's what Torah does. That's what Kollel lifestyle does. There's loyalty. You have a problem. There's a problem between a husband and a wife. How many times with secular couples I deal with, you go to the rabbi, if it's a religious couple, a Kollel family, A guy learns in kollel, automatically, that means he has a rabbi. There's someone to talk to if there's a problem. He listens to rabbis. The non-religious like to put a facade as if they're happy. They hold hands, they put pictures all over the Instagram and Facebook like, oh, we just went on vacation, or we went at the wedding, and they're hugging and they're kissing. And then the stories that I get afterwards, the tears and the loneliness. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's so fake. The outside world, the marriages, the secular marriages is terrible. There's no future in those marriages. And this poor lady is trying to hold on to whatever she can for her dear life. I guess maybe that's why they're spewing so much negativity about kollel lifestyle. Because maybe deep down they feel that emptiness and they're jealous. I don't know. Of course, there are always exceptions. There are always exceptions to the rule. Can I say that 100% all kollel guys respect and honor their wives the way they're supposed to? That would be a lie. Of course, there are always exceptions. You're always going to find one or two that don't do what they need to do. As an example given of a house, every beautiful house has a what? A bathroom. Every house has a bathroom. That's it. Even amongst kollel guys, there's always one bathroom, right? Well, I'm going to say all the secular couples are terrible? No. One or two here and there, you might find someone normal. But I'm talking about percent-wise. Overall, the kollel lifestyle, wives who put their husbands through kollel, there's nothing to talk about. By the way, you should know, it was told last night. A month ago, he came to the Rav and he said, I would like to go to work. What do you think? What does the Rav think? And the Rav said, what I think? What does your wife say? He asked his wife, and the wife said, I want you to stay in kollel. That conversation took place a month ago. People are saying that she forced this lifestyle on her. No, she wanted this. She was a very, very special lady. I'm telling you, she's a special lady. I know her. Her tzniut was exceptional. Her everything. She wanted him in kollel. I'm going to ask you, ladies, not to use your emotions. Use logic. Use facts. Don't use your emotions. And I know there are times that we hit rock bottom, like, where do I go from here? What do I do? What do I think? So what do we do in situations like that? The one takeaway message that I want all of us to have, and that is in times of crisis, chas v'shalom, in times of loss, what do we do? What do we turn? We turn to our Gedolim. Our Gedolim, our rabbis, are the eyes of the generation. And they are the eyes. They are going to illuminate. They're going to tell us how to live our lives. They're going to tell us how to think. Why? Why do I need to ask a rabbi? Why can't I think for myself? Because Hashem created us, and Hashem put into us a set of rules rules on how we need to conduct ourselves in life on planet Earth to be successful. And this is what it says in Pirkei Avot. The first Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says the following. It says, Moshe kibel Torah miSinai. Moshe Rabbeinu received Torah from Sinai, Mount Sinai. This is the way Mishnah starts. Pirkei Avot starts with this. Moshe Rabbeinu received Torah from Sinai. Okay. Next. Umsara Yoshua, and he transmitted to Yoshua. He gave the Torah, whatever he learned, he gave it over to Yoshua. The Yoshua is Zikanim, and Yoshua gave it over to Zikanim. Whatever he learned from Moshe, Yoshua gave it over to Zikanim. Uzikanim leNevi'im, and the elders gave it over to Nevi'im, the Torah. Look how it's being transmitted. UNevi'im mesarucha le'anshe knesset hagedola, and the Nevi'im, the prophets, gave it over to who? To the great men of assembly, to the greatest Talmidei Chachamim. And what did they do? They gave it over to a next generation rabbis. What did they do? They gave it over to a next generation of rabbis. What did they do? They gave it. So what are we talking about? When we're talking about Gedolim, when we're talking about Poskim, what are we talking about? We're talking about a chain that's linked all the way back to Har Sinai, to Mount Sinai, to Hashem himself. We have a tradition that all the Gedolim that follow that tradition, they date back all the way to Har Sinai. So when you go to ask a question from a Gadol, I don't care about his personal opinion. I care to know, what does Torah say? And no rabbi gives a psak halacha based on his feelings, his mood. Okay, you know what? I feel like saying no today to you, so no. To you, I feel like saying yes because you have nice hair. To you, that's not how halacha works. When the rabbis give psak, when they give a ruling, it's not based on their feelings or their preference or emotions. It's based on the Holy Torah. It's based on what? On Hashem himself. You want to know what Hashem has to say on any given situation? Ask his representative. We ask the Gedolim because they are considered our eyes. And they don't make up things. They base everything on Torah, and Torah covers all situations, all the crises and all the loneliness and all the tragedies. Everything's in Torah. You want to know how to get out of the situation? Ask the Gedolim. Ask the Gedolim what to do. They'll be your eyes. They'll give you guidance. Don't be alone. Don't be alone when, Chas v'Shalom, you hit a national tragedy or you're facing a personal loss. Don't be alone. Ask. When you ask, you have guidance, you have a hadracha, you have nothing to worry about. You're calm. You're calm. Right? Give you an example. I gave this example before, but it's so worth repeating it. Just a personal example. When my mom got sick with a terrible disease, doctors didn't have much of a hope. I mean, they did tell us she can go through treatments. But the question was like this: do we put our mom through treatments and torture her with all the side effects? Or no, let her go. Let her live out her days and let her go. Baruch Hashem, there's 6 of us. Already the argument started. Who's going to call the shots? Who's going to decide for her? What do? Do we put her through torture? Oh no, we'll let her go. What do we do? Either way you look at it, it's a problem. If we let her go, we're going to point fingers. Because of you, she could have lived an extra year, an extra 2 years, right? Look, so-and-so had the same thing, they got treated. If we put her through treatments, then she'll have side effects. Because of you, look, she's vomiting, right? So what do we do? What do we do? I asked all of my siblings, said, let's unite and let us agree on one posek that we're going to call and ask, Da Torah. My mom's life is not my life. It's not, even my own life, I'm not allowed to make those kind of decisions. I did not create her. I don't have a right to decide for her. Hashem created her. So I want to know, what does God say in such a situation? With such an illness, with such predictions. What does Hashem say? We're called, we asked. We all were on the line. All of my siblings were on line. I said, let's all be on the line so nobody should point fingers at each other. We're all on line. And the Rav told us, in this situation, that she has to go through treatment. And that was calming. That's it. We got the answer. That means if she has side effects, whatever it is, we're not going to blame each other. The Rav said, and she has side effects, that means this is what Hashem wanted. I cannot be more than that. I cannot do more than this. I'm human. At least I don't have a guilty conscience. How many people came over to me and told me after that incident, when the news got out that my mom was sick, oh, we don't talk to our siblings. Siblings don't talk to each other because each one thinks that the other one killed. You didn't treat her enough. You didn't take her to this doctor. You didn't give her. Of course, there's going to be fight. Why? Because they did whatever they thought was right. Instead of asking Da Torah, ask Da Torah, ask the rabbis. Not just regular rabbis, not your local shul rabbis. I mean, if he's a gadol and if he's a posek, great. But you need to ask poskim. There's a difference between a community rabbi and posek. You need to ask a posek, a gedolim, what do I do? This is a serious situation. What do I do? And once they tell you, believe me, every time I saw my mom struggle and being in pain, and it was not easy. It was not easy. Like I know the side effects we could have prevented. Like, is it really worth it? Sometimes you just think to yourself, like, is it really worth it to put her through this? And the answer is yes. Why? Because Hashem said so. His representative said so. The rabbi said so. I have nothing to worry about. And that's what we need to train ourselves, that in times of crisis, we need to ask a shaila, what do I do? How do I perceive the situation? How do I go forward? Why is this situation any different? Before this ladies went on Facebook and started typing all sorts of things. I'm talking, the non-religious, I'm not expecting anything, but I'm talking about religious ladies. Did you ask Gidolim, Rabbi, can you go over my note? Can you see if everything I wrote is accurate? I'm going to publicize this. Did you ask? Do you understand that your things that you wrote, and posted it all over will have repercussions? Who's your posek? Who's your gadol? And that's a big problem. And that's a big problem, ladies. And this is a takeaway message number one, that whenever we face a challenge, whether it's personal or national, ask and you'll be calmer. You'll be calmer. You'll say, okay, we have that Torah. This is not a usual situation. This is what I was told. This is not a usual situation. This is not a normal situation. It's a tragedy. And when I heard this, okay, I don't need to use my brain, because the more I started using, the more I started going crazy. I'm like, I cannot make sense of it. But when the Gadol said this is not normal, it's okay. I also feel the same way. Okay, I felt validated. Okay, I'm not the only one. And believe it or not, Jews throughout history, kosher Jews throughout history, asked Gedolim what to do. Jews who did away with the rabbis became secular, became reformed, conservative, nothing's left of them. And people are saying, who are the rabbis? Who are the rabbis? They are our leaders, they are our eyes, they are our guide. Whatever they tell us, and we have whatever we have thanks to them. They're guiding us, they're telling us what to do, what not to do. And it's important. Now, this generation has a hard time getting it, because we live in such a liberal climate, where from a small age, kids are taught to do away with authority, right? One little incident, they found police. Okay, I'll give it to you. Fine, the police did whatever he did was wrong. I'll give it to you. But why should regular citizens suffer? You're going to literally do away with police? You're going to tie their hands behind their backs so they shouldn't do anything to criminals? What about all the store owners and businesses? You see what's going on. The homeowners, everybody's shaking. Defund police. And now we see with defunded police, everyone's dream came true with defunded police. So what happened to the society? Crumbling. Those people, those Jews who want to do away with the rabbis. I have my own head. Use your own head. Who needs the rabbis? Let's do away with rabbis. What is he going to tell me? Okay. Judaism will crumble. That particular family will crumble. Because Judaism cannot exist without Gedolim. We cannot exist without the guidance of Gedolim and Chachamim. We cannot. If we're going to do whatever comes to our mind, we're going to do whatever our emotions are telling us to do, we'll be left with nothing. Ladies, this is not a joke. What are we teaching our kids? Push comes to shove, throw the rabbi out. Who needs him? I got my own brain. Okay, right away typing, posting. And this is a takeaway message, ladies. Yes, it was a very tragic news, but more tragedy came from all the responses that people were giving. And without consulting the Gedolim, the Chachamim, what should be our next step? How do we process this tragedy? Where do we go from here? What do we do? What do we not do, right? And that's important. That's important to internalize and to give over to our children. Mommy asks, Abba asks. And it's good for them to see this. That mommy doesn't know everything, but I ask. I ask people bigger than me. Chachamim, they got extra siyata d'shmaya. They lead the generations. So Hashem gives them things that you and I don't have. They see things that you and I cannot see because they have a special siyata d'shmaya, and this is who we need to trust, and this is who we need to follow, just like all of our righteous ancestors did. It's only in recent years this doing away with authority came into fashion. Do away with authority. Defund police, defund this, get rid of the president, it's not good. It's not good. And sipping into our communities. A little bit, a little tragedy, a little thing. That's it. Let's do away. Let's do away with Torah. Let's do away with the rabbis. Let's do away. Where's our emunah? Where's emunat chachamim? Where's that stability? Let's be anchored. Okay, I get it. It's a tragedy. It's hard to comprehend, but okay, we'll ask. And that has to be something that we need to internalize into ourselves and into our family members, that we ask. No matter what happens in life, we ask. Whether it's a personal problem, national crisis, same thing with during Corona. Oh my gosh, the things that people were saying during Corona, the things that were taking place, ladies going out on a microphone. Oh my God, everyone's true colors started coming out, So October 7th, for example, when that happened, I asked. I also had a hard time processing, first of all, I never watched those images. Just the bits and pieces that I heard, and horrendous. I asked, and whatever answer I got, it put things in perspective for me. I calmed down. Yes, it's bad. I'm not saying whatever, but you know what? I calm down. I have that Torah. It's important to have that Torah in your life. I cannot emphasize that your kids need to see this. We'll ask the rabbi, we'll ask people bigger than ourselves. And don't ask just anyone. Ask Gidolim, ask Poskim, not any random rabbi. I remember when I was single, thank God then there weren't any social medias. Because the story died before it was born, So only immediate people knew the story, just whatever. And even they spread it, but it didn't go wild like now. So I go to a wedding. Remember, I'm in dating, right? I'm dating religious guys. I want a learning guy, so I come to a wedding. It's a religious wedding. The guy's wearing a hat. I don't know what happened there. He hit the collar. Whatever it was, and no. Yeah, there was a lot of commotion. He left. They brought him back. Whatever it was, and I was a single girl. And everybody was just parting away. You see, you want that religious guy. See, you see, this is what they do, and this is what you want. This is what. And thank God, even then, I asked the Rabbanim, and they said, okay, this is one exceptional story. You don't judge the whole Lakewood or all of the Kollel guys based on one incident. These things happen in life. Listen, you can't say everyone is, and that made such a terrible impression because I was single. I got scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't happen to me, Baruch Hashem. But the point is, the point is that people are very quick to generalize. They see one story and they blow it out of proportion. It's not reality always. Okay, there are always exceptions. Remember, there's always that one bathroom in every house. There's always going to be that one person that's different, that one crazy story that happens. It happens. But that's not the norm. That's not the usual. Okay, the second lesson, the second takeaway lesson from all this is to educate yourself a little bit about signs and symptoms of different but common psychological disorders. Just a little bit. The common ones, the OCD, the major depressive disorder, a little bit. Educate yourself a little bit. Schizophrenia, eating disorder, anxiety, panic attacks. Those are the common things that the generation is facing. Just a little bit. And you'll see your take is going to be so different. And once you are educated, you will perceive the situations different. And you'll be able to help those who are suffering around you. And that's the problem. I see also a lot of ignorance in our community. People are not aware about mental disorders. They are not aware about mental disorders. I'll give an example to illustrate my point. A few years ago, a lady gives birth. A lady gives birth, and without getting into details, she did not have postpartum depression. She had postpartum psychosis. And her situation was so bad, after she gave birth. I mean, she was depressed, and we did go to her house. We tried to calm her down. Nothing worked. One time she text messaged me, and someone else was also on the group, that her husband was taking her somewhere, and there was an infant in the car that she just gave birth to. And while the husband was in the store, she wanted to open the window and throw him out of the window. The cars were driving. She's like, I can't look at them. Baruch Hashem, we called the husband right away. He came out of the store, and it was fine. Some time goes by, few other incidents, few other crazy stories that she started telling us. And we're talking to the mother. Nah, why are you taking her serious? I'm not shooting. Shoot it. We're telling the husband, drama queens. No, this is not drama. Like, okay, nobody's taking us serious. Me and this other person are running around. Nobody cares. Not that nobody cares. Nobody takes it serious. Ignorance. Until one day she texted us a message. She said she filled up a bathtub, and she said, I'm about to put the baby inside. I'm done with him. Okay, at that point, I'm like, I had it. I'm not taking this. I was shaking. I'm like, I don't care to get an approval from her dad, from her mom, from her parents, from her in-laws, from her. I don't care. I need to do what I need to do. And that person also told me, begging me, please, 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 please go and save her life. I'll never forget. I told her, I said, I just want to take you out. I want to, I see you going through a lot. I said, I'm not going to tell her the truth. So I just told her, I'd like to take you out just to have you talk to someone. Then I had my toddler. Without thinking, I took my toddler. And she took her infant, and we get into the car. I said, what are you taking me? I said, just to have you talk to someone. So we come. I took her to LIJ, psychiatric ward. And we come in, and she's smiling. It's like, what's this? I said, no, nothing. Just, you're going to talk to someone. And the psychiatrist comes, and she says, okay, what's going on? I said, nothing. I don't know. She brought me here. And I said, no, there are things going on, And I proceeded, and I told the psychiatrist everything that took place within the past few weeks, whatever. Psychiatrist didn't say anything. She left the room, came back with security guards.
Wow.
And she looked at them. They said, sorry, we need to have your baby. We need to lock you up, we need to take you in. And at that moment, she lost it. Screaming, yelling, cursing the life out of me. How can you do this to me? You betrayed me. I trusted you. You told me someone she's going to talk to me. What are these bodyguards? What'd you do? And she was like cursing me out. And I'm here with my coat on, holding my toddler, holding the infant, and they're whisking her away. And I don't know what to do. I'm like crying. It's like a tough love kind of thing, I don't know what to do for her. But that was the only choice I had. Long story short, it's like I'm reliving it. It's crazy, Anyway, long story short, she's throwing the tantrums. Like, can I call my mom? So she calls her parents. Her parents calm down. Her siblings call me, harassing me, cursing me out. Her mom said, why'd you do this? I said, your daughter said that she was going to choke the baby in the tub. No, she was joking. Why do you take her literally? What is this? I said, no, it's not a joke, and they went off on me. I started shaking. So anyway, long story short, they let her out on a condition. They told her the following. They said, we're going to let you go on the condition that you're not going to be allowed to stay home alone. If ACS comes and catches you one time being home alone with the kids, we're going to take away the kids and lock you up. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, you have to get psychotherapy. Rule number 3, you have to go to a psychiatrist. And we're going to follow up because ACS can walk in any time of day or night. That's exactly what they did. Okay, now I come to shul, cold looks, terrible looks, attitudes, whatever, and I have to put up with all this. A year later, she comes to me and she tells me, she said, I just want to tell you, I know I put you through Geno. I want to tell you, thank you so much for doing what you did, because you literally saved my life. Because her mom stayed, that whole year, her mom stayed. And ACS came and checked on her randomly in the middle of the day at night. And she said, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for saving my life. I actually didn't need my mom next to me, and nobody took me serious. Not my husband, not my mom, they thought I was joking. If it wouldn't be for what you've done for me, I would literally act on my emotions. And then she was going to do away with her stuff also, I forgot to mention, whatever. Now, to this day, the family didn't tell me thank you. Not that I'm waiting for their thank you, but it just shows me the level of ignorance. Ladies, this is not a joke. People with suicidal ideation have a brain of their own. You and I cannot relate to their pain, to their thinking pattern. But it's real. When someone tells you they want to hurt themselves, they will hurt themselves. Take them serious. Don't ignore it. It could be chas v'shalom, a child, it could be an older person. Get them help. Help is available. Don't ignore it. This is a problem in our community. She was joking. No, she was not joking. This is not a joke to say I'm going to put my baby in a tub and choke him to death. That's not a joke. Ladies, this is not a joke. And the next time you hear someone doing this, hold hands with the husband, with the mom. Hold hands and help the person. Don't go against it. Why did I get that pushback? Not because they're bad, because they're ignorant. They don't know better. They don't understand how suicidal ideation works. They don't understand these people really act on their thoughts. They act on it if you don't get them help. So that's another takeaway message, that people need to understand how suicidal ideations work. It's real. This is not a joke. And you get them professional help. You get them professional help, people that can help them. Professional help means psychiatrist. That's a professional help. Recently, I had another person in my community. She had a relative with suicide ideation, previous attempts. You know, people who attempted previously, they're bound to do it again. So what did she tell me? Oh, can we organize a Halacha event? I said, listen, your relative is not doing well. She's not threatening you. She's going to act on it. Get her professional help. Oh, she doesn't want. What does it mean she doesn't want? You don't ask her, do you want to go to psychiatric ward? You don't ask them these questions. You take them. Anyway, fine. So they're like, okay. So I said, no, Halacha event will not help. They did it against my will. They did the Halacha event without me. They got someone else. I said, fine. Let's see if that helps. Look at the level of ignorance. The person's threatening you with suicide and you're doing a Halacha event. Fine. So they said, okay, we're not going to get you for Halacha event, but can you at least come to the Halacha event and speak to her? A whole new level of stupidity. And I said, okay, what do you want me to speak to her about? Convince her to go to the mikvah. Mikvah? The person's depressed. The person has all these ideations. You want me to convince her to go to mikvah? I said, it's not going to help. No, like a rebbe, maybe you'll have psychological approach, like a PA. I said, yeah, I'm a PA and all this, but I don't have the tools that I need to fix the problem. Like, that's not my department. Get a professional help. They tried to drag her to come to the Halacha, she didn't end up coming. Long story short, thank God, by the grace of God, I don't know what happened there. They ended up locking her up. They took her to a psychiatric, thank God. Something went in, I don't know what went in, but I was screaming and yelling, something went in. And they said, Baruch Hashem, we got her the help that she needs. You know how many people suffer like this? I personally know, it's just unbelievable. Problem is that relatives don't take them serious. Or another thing, a common disorder, OCD. Common disorder, right? OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Obsessive, they're obsessed, and then they act on it. In their brain, they think that certain things have to be a certain way. That's a mental illness. This is not a religious issue. This is not a religious issue. This is a mental illness. There are different levels of mental illnesses. So here's a story. A guy comes and he says, Shema Israel. How many times does he say? How many times do you say Shema? How many times should a person say Shema?
3 times a day.
No, when you say it one time, at that time, one time, right? Enough? One? Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I want to tell you something. When they were doing psychiatry in PA school, it's unbelievable. Every topic that they touched, we all felt like we have a touch of something, you know? When the professor was going over different disorders, I'm like, maybe I could relate a little bit to the, you know? I'm like, am I normal? Am I normal? Like, it was a very interesting, you know? Anyway, so this guy, Nabach, would say Shema over and over and over and over again. Did I say it right? Can you listen to me? Can you listen to me? Did I say it right? Did I say it right? Listen. Shema, Shema, Did I say, And what did people do? The bystanders, the ignorant. You see, fanatic, snapped. Look what the Torah does. You want to be like this religious? The level of ignorance, instead of saying this poor guy is suffering from a mental disorder, the religion didn't tell you to say Shema 5,000 times. That's not Torah. This boy is suffering, get him help. What are you blaming religion for? And this happens all the time. The ignorance of people, instead of differentiating between mental disorder and religion, they just rather blame everything on religion. No, nobody produced this boy like this, okay? Nobody made him like this. No rabbi in the world told him, say Shema 500 times a day. No, nobody said that to him. That's a disorder, right? Another example. I got a call from a lady. No, from someone who said, I heard so-and-so is your student, yes. You know, she drives me up the walls with her questions, with her needed questions. And the person was a little upset with me for not teaching her the right way, because she does bidikot to a point that she causes herself injury. And then when she prepares, like she keeps cutting and then injures her nails. And keeps calling to make sure that the psak that the person gave her was okay. So when you hear something like that the problem wasn't in the Kala teacher. I'm not the problem. The person suffering from OCD. Don't you see this? That's a mental disorder. That's not a religious disorder. Do you know how many kalot, how many ladies I deal with? This is a real issue, and it's getting in the way of everything. That's not Judaism. That's not caused by our rituals. I know Judaism has a lot of rituals. Wash your hands. So if you see someone washing their hands, and then they wipe, and then they wash it again, can't you pick up that something's wrong with the person? That's not a religious thing. That he's not a fanatic. This poor girl or guy is suffering. And I had a serious conversation with that person, and I said, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's talk about it. I sat her down and we spoke about it. I said, you're going to benefit. You're going to benefit from a good psychiatrist. You need to go on medications. I was getting ready into her Shalom Bayit, into her Baruch Hashem. She got to a proper psychiatrist with proper medication. Baruch Hashem. Different person. But we need to differentiate between different illnesses and understand that mental illnesses are real. They present differently, and we need to get them proper help. I had another person referred me a Buhain drug addict, a lady in Nebuch. A young girl addicted to drugs. And the person referred them to me. You, the Rebbetzin, give a shiur. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Shurim are made for normal people. Shurim are not made for drug addictions, for porn addictions. That's not. Shurim are not going to, they need real help. They need real help. And I want the community to wake up and realize that addictions are treated by professionals, not by Rebbetzins. A lady came, she said, okay, give me shiur, in the zechut of me listening to shiur, maybe my husband will stop with alcoholism. No, I don't have those magical powers that I'll give you shiur and your husband changes and drops alcohol. Like, I don't have that. We need to understand that real addictions, real issues like that need to be addressed with the right people, with the professionals. And that's something that we need to educate yourself and understand that mental disorders are real. This is not a joke, and help is available. Now, I'd like to touch on a common disorder, and that is the postpartum depression. That almost a lot, now I'm not going to say everyone, but a lot of ladies suffer from postpartum depression, and that's real. Postpartum depression is not something to make light of. It's a real thing that happens to many of us. And happens to the best of us. To the best of us. A lady might have had many kids, and all of a sudden with one of her kids she'll develop postpartum depression. It happens. Just want to run down through some of the common signs and symptoms of depression. If a person feels loneliness, down, loss of interest in things that they liked to do before, they lost interest. They have no interest in being sexually intimate. They're not interested in eating, or some people overeat. Depends on a person, you know. They're not. They don't want to. They feel constant fatigue, tiredness. They don't want to do things around the house. They can't take care of themselves, right? They don't know why. They're constantly crying, or they might not even cry. I know a situation of a lady who constantly kept vomiting. No tears, nothing. Constant vomiting. Okay, whatever it is. There's that. And then there are people who have fear. They don't know from what. Right? Postpartum depression can manifest itself in different ways. But all I can tell you is that if you feel different than usual, reach out. Help is available. Don't suffer in silence. And I know there's a lot of stigma. Oh, you're crazy. Get help. Get help. Because it's real and help is available. And you know what? With proper help, you can come out of the situation. Nothing to be embarrassed of. Sometimes a person faces a life crisis. They fall. It's normal. You fall. You can't pick yourself up. Get help. Get help. Get professional help. Now, how do you treat depression? How do you treat postpartum depression, or any depression for that matter? There's no one way. There's no one way of treating depression. Sometimes psychotherapy alone is good enough. Sometimes you need pills. Yes, you do need pills. Pills are available. Word of caution, some of the antidepressants actually cause suicidal ideations. That's the side effect of some of the pills. Also, I want to tell you that if, for whatever reason, chas v'shalom, if you or anyone you love needs to go on antidepressants, remember, it's not magical. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks to kick in, to see the results. It's not like you take antidepressant and boom, you feel better. It doesn't work like that. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to kick in, to start feeling a difference. And you know what? For everyone, something else works. For this person, this medication might work. No two people are the same, and you can't say like, oh, this is a magical pill. I know certain people that had certain medications, it was magical for them, it worked. For others, it doesn't work. It's like trial and error. You have to keep trying and see which one suits you. If you have to go on medications, go on it. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. There's so much stigma. Stop. If you need it, take it. You're not going to be on it forever. Sometimes it's going to get you out of the dungeon. Psychotherapy, sometimes alone, sometimes with pills, works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Some people resort to acupuncture. Works for you, go. Do it. Don't ignore it. For others, might work Bach therapy. I don't know if you heard of it. Bach therapy. So, no, it's not music, thank you. Bach therapy is like this. Let me just give you a little bit. So the way it works briefly is that there was a researcher who conducted research, and he saw that there are 31 plants and each plant was connected to something else against a different disorder. And it's a very interesting thing. So basically what he does is that he took that plant and he boiled it, or he left it over the sun, and he took the energy of the leaves. The energy of the leaves went into the water. You discard the leaves and you sell the water. You drink the water. So there are 31 types of plants, and each plant is against something else. One plant is good for aggression. One plant is good for depression. But, it's unbelievable. It's not the medication that you're taking. It's not the plant. It's the energy of the plant. So the best thing about it is that you can take it while you're pregnant. No side effects, no interactions with other medications, because it's all about energy. When you drink that drop, you put it into a cup of water, you could drink it, no taste, nothing, no side effects. That can also be helpful. Contact me, I'll tell you, there's a book. It's called No More Ticks, written by Sarah Hannah Radcliffe. It's a thin pamphlet, a book, amazing. It tells you for OCD, for ADHD, for different things, for fears, kids who have fears at night. Amazing. She actually went into this because of her own son. Her son, he had fears, And for 2 years, she couldn't get him out of it. And until she came across Bach therapy, and she took him to all the psychologists and everything, nothing worked until she gave him Bach therapy. And it's simple, not expensive. That might work for you. Try it.
Is this from the Torah?
What?
Like, is this something that's from the Torah?
Bach therapy?
Yeah.
Listen,
There are things.
yeah, there are, and unfortunately we don't know about them. Yeah, there is chokhmah. That's what the Torah says, that there's a lot of chokhmah even by goyim. So there is that chokhmah. Unfortunately, we don't know everything there is to know. But this scientist came up with this. It's harmless. It has a lot of haskamot from big rabbis, and it's worth trying it. It's not going to hurt you. Listen, give it. Try it yourself, but follow the instructions. I don't want to waste the class time on going through the instructions. It's called No More Ticks by Sarah Hannah Radcliffe. If you ladies are interested, I'm going to post it on the chat. Buy the book and follow the instructions. Who? No, she's from Canada.
It's the one that there's no more yelling books, right?
Yes. Raise your kids without raising your voice, yes. Okay, then for some of the major depressive disorders and OCDs can be treated with TMS, with transcranial magnetic stimulation. That's another thing that people can take advantage of. They don't want to take medications, they had side effects. Try it. You don't know, it might work. It might work. The only thing is it might cause forgetfulness. Okay, so simple, non-invasive. You go to the office, you're in and out. It might work. Try it. Or at least have the conversation. Do your own research, but don't allow these things to go unnoticed. That's my message to everyone. You feel different, you feel awkward, you became more argumentative, you're fighting with your husband, you're losing friends, you're having a lot of interpersonal problems, you feel lonely, you feel depressed, you feel down, you're sad, you can't smile, nothing makes you happy, you lost interest in things that you like to do. That's not normal. This is not normal. Get help. Get help. Sometimes you have to be your own doctor. Sometimes you have to look at people around you, relatives and friends and cousins. You see someone, or it could be, let's say, your brother, Chas v'shalom, right? Obviously, guys don't always understand, so you need a lady's touch and be like, hey, maybe, just maybe, you might benefit from this organization. Maybe you'll benefit from this doctor. But get them help.
With the psychiatrist now, my mom's helping someone who's in deep depression, and every psychiatrist you contact, they have capped the number of patients the psychiatrists are allowed to see because there are so many.
Okay, it's true. Thank you so much for bringing that point, which takes me to a different, and there are also organizations like Yad Rachel from Lakewood. There's another organization in Muncie that deals with postpartum depression. Because of this issue, psychiatrists can't see you. You want to see a psychiatrist, you got to wait for a few months. And before you see him, you're probably going to die, it's just crazy. The amount, the waiting list is just not normal. And they have a way to get you in faster. Within a week, you'll be able to see someone. These Jewish organizations are amazing. There's a relief.org, Amudim. There's Yad Rachel for postpartum depression. There's another one, I forgot the name, in Muncie. There's so many Jewish organizations. If you go through them, you might be able to see someone sooner. Okay? High Life, Ohel. There's so many Jewish organizations that if you call them, you'll tell them, listen, this is a real crisis. I really need help. They might be able to get you someone sooner. Okay?
What if there is a case out of state and nothing helps, and they put her into a psychiatrist, then they take her out, and then recently she said, I want to kill myself, but at night she woke up to kill her son. The son moved out. He got an apartment. Then she wanted to kill her husband. So what he does, he puts away all the knives at home at night, but it's getting worse with her.
Yeah.
And they cannot help. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast of a religious guy who lost his daughter to it, and unfortunately, sometimes there's nothing to do. If they put it into their heads that this is what they need to do, then unfortunately, some of them actually do end up acting on their thoughts, no matter what type of help you get them. Unfortunately, yes.
People don't want to be around her, and
It's
she
a
doesn't
real
go
thing.
out because, like, we're sitting in the crowd. All of a sudden, she starts screaming.
Because a lot of them,
happens
there are
with them at the
comorbid
end?
conditions such as schizophrenia also, that they hear voices telling them things.
Yeah, that's what she said.
That's the problem with a lot of them as well. Nobody's going to lock you up forever. They lock you up for a certain time and then they'll let go. You know what I'm saying? Everything costs money. They can't keep patients there forever. And unfortunately, a lot of them do act on their thoughts. There's a podcast that if I don't know if you ladies saw, a from guy lost his daughter to this. I shared it, right? I also shared a video from Amudim. They put up a video of a lady with suicidal ideation. It was so beautiful. Like you could actually see from her perspective. Like I love the way they show.
You also posted that.
We're posting
You could see how those people think. Actually, it's scary, but it's true. We can't relate to them. We should never know from this, but these are real issues. And you're right that sometimes, no matter what type of help you get them, unfortunately, not always it's
What
treatable.
happens with her at the end?
Oh.
She's just gonna do something with herself?
We could just pray. I hope not.
Do they always express like how they're feeling? Like
No.
no, right?
I read actually recently about suicide, and this is what they said. They say that, and I read this from a medical book that I have in the house. So it said there that many times people who attempted and were stopped, and especially if people knew about it, what they do is that they go on the best behavior, and they give impression that everything's okay with them, and meanwhile they're like planning things out, and they do it at a time least expected. It's a very interesting study. Like this is when they do it. When you least expect, they looked happy, they looked normal, nobody saw it coming. That's when they act on it. It's very interesting. Then I'm telling you what I read from medical book. Yeah.
I was in a situation with someone else like that. We would admit her 2 weeks. She's like perfect in the hospital, and then she'll come back like nothing happened. And then like she was very open with me, and her family was so ignorant. Like when I started recording her, I started like saving her messages.
Did they believe you after?
It took like years,
Yes.
and then I had to admit her. Like
Good.
I was not part of her family, but her family was so ignorant. But Baruch Hashem, they finally like followed up, and I would even FaceTime to see if she takes her meds. Like I'm like, if you guys are ignorant, I'll be there for her. Like she's nobody to me. But it took years, and it was like
It's very hard
the
because
family
there's
like,
such a
no, she's normal.
Yeah.
She doesn't talk to you about these things, and she was telling her plans, and they were so ignorant, and they felt it was embarrassing. Like we can't do that. Like and I remember calling him, same thing. She was yelling at me. Like I trusted you. It's embarrassing, embarrassing my generations of my family. I'm like, but she brought her in like 5 years later. She's
Good,
a
bro.
different person.
Good.
And she's better, and like I thank God doing that. But that's the problem. They discharge in 2 weeks,
Yeah,
and there's nobody that goes home with them.
exactly. It's a problem, right?
It's a scary thing.
Yeah, but look, we can only do our best. We can only do our best. And then what happens at the end, it's already up to them and Hashem. We can't babysit them forever, but we should do our best.
And how do the families don't see like okay, they could fake it.
Stigma, oh, what will people say? This is embarrassing,
You cannot act that perfect, especially around family. Like you see certain.
They ignore. I'm telling you, this person that she openly said to her husband, I'm gonna kill myself and I'll kill the baby, and he was like, whatever, like kept ignoring her. It's a problem.
I can't believe that they would actually follow through because it's so bizarre.
Right.
Sometimes people say it out of anger or out of.
you know how they say, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you." Like you're just saying that. Like you're not gonna actually do so. It's probably
No. You know that they behave different. You see, okay. Anyway, so that's these are the resources. If you feel different, you see someone else feels different, acts different, please contact any one of these organizations. Relief is great. It's an amazing mental health referral agency. Send them. So it's a religious, Yad Rachel is in Lakewood for postpartum depression. High Life, Amudim, and Ohel are some of the famous Jewish organizations out there that deal with these issues.
Can I ask a question? So there's a lot of concern about parents speaking to their kids about suicidal ideation because they're worried that they're going to put those ideas in their kids' head.
Yeah, you
Like
shouldn't
they
be
would have never
right.
thought about doing this, but
Yeah.
you're telling them that that's something that kids are thinking about. So how do you talk to kids about this, just so that they're aware? And then if their friends are talking to them about it, so that they know how to
Depends what age.
handle. So say tween teen, so like from that tween teen age.
I think it also depends on the kid.
Right. So, first of all, you need to know what they know. If they know, and they probably know a lot, then you tell them that this is not normal, and if a person ever feels like that, help is available. They should contact a mother and a father should always have that open communication and say, I'm always here for you. Has shalom. Forget about suicide. If you ever feel like you have a need to talk to me about any topic at all, tell me I'm here for you. Don't ever judge them. Don't ever make them feel stupid or put them down. What are you talking about? You're better than this. Like if they really are down, they feel depressed, whatever it is that they're feeling, parents should have that open line of communication and welcome the questions and welcome their feelings and not dismiss them and not make them feel cheap and no, what are you talking about? It can't be. You're still growing. Once you say that, you don't allow them to open up to you again. So depends on the age, but honesty is always the key. Parents need to be honest, but also not everything needs to be told. You don't need to tell them everything. Sometimes they don't even know everything. You don't need to be.
So what do you tell your daughter?
And if starting at the age of 12, they're given a questionnaire, put into a separate room to answer the questions, because God forbid they should answer the questions with their parents about these things. It's a questionnaire. And putting these ideas into their heads. I said to my pediatrician, is this medically necessary? My child was never thinking about it once we left the office. Like, Mommy, am I supposed to be thinking about these things? Like, it's they put it into these kids' heads.
Right, so that's why choose the right pediatrician.
Who knew?
Right.
You know.
So switch your pediatrician.
12-year-old, I didn't know.
Yeah, my pediatrician said, do you want vaccine for HPV?
They kind of forced it now.
No, not my kids. Like, what does she need an HPV, Baruch Hashem?
But you don't know who she's gonna marry. Like, that's right. But you don't know.
I understand. When that time comes, maybe before the marriage, we'll consider something. But
Say it's gonna be too late by then.
huh?
And then they say it's gonna be too late then, because it's only good for like 16 years old, up until 16.
No, there's a reason for that, which I'm going to discuss.
Tell your daughter. I'm sure she came to you and
So, which one?
the one that was.
So there are different ages. Oh, in her class, the 8-year-old. So when my kids came, that's what I was told. I got my kids together and I said, unfortunately, Mrs. So-and-so passed away tragically. And the question was, how? What happened? And I said that she was very sick for a very long time, and unfortunately, she left the world. So that was enough for the younger kids, but the older kids wanted to know the reason. And then I told them separately, just like I was instructed to say, that, whatever she did. And
How old was she? The oldest. that you said?
15. And she was shocked, and I said, this is real, this is a real issue, and, yeah.
Can I ask one question? So, for people in Olam Haba, I just always ask it because I know that in Olam Haba, for a person who does commit suicide, it's like the neshama is like.
They don't have Olam Haba, right?
the
But
person
unless they were
is
anus.
sick,
Right,
and
Yeah.
The brain is like this,
right.
like this, like
Yeah.
it didn't do it on purpose, like it didn't think that, like it just.
It's called anus, and they have different din, they have different judgment, and obviously they have a lot more lenience, and that's why we do allow Shiva, and we do allow them to get buried, and we do allow them hesped and all that. How Hashem judges them, I don't know.
But isn't almost every suicide case a mental illness?
Not always, no. No, not always.
Maybe they lost a lot of money or whatever.
No, not always, not always. Okay, anyway, let's move on, and I'd like to the takeaway lesson number 4, and that is the most common cause of depression is usually the wrong thinking pattern. That's the most common symptom, cause, I should say, of depression. It's the fact that people don't have proper thinking patterns. Negative thinking patterns eventually will lead to depressive disorders. Eventually, if this continues, and always negativity, always in that rut of rumination and bringing up old stuff and reliving them and reliving them and reliving them. You know what she did? You know what she said? I did this, I did that. People like ruminate and constantly bring up old topics, old stuff, and it just hurts them and they can't get over it. And they're reliving it because remember, even though you're talking about the past and you're just saying, okay, I'm just talking, what happens is that every time you talk about someone who hurt you and I did this and I said that, so your brain doesn't know, it releases the same chemicals, negative chemicals, that as if you're going through it now. Do you understand? And after a while, the brain is so used to all those chemicals, all those negative chemicals flooded, that after a while it just becomes more and more depressed and withdrawn. Now, we need to understand that the body has needs. What are the body's needs? Food, right? So we give it nutritious food, the body is set. Exercise, body is good. Sleeping on time, it's good. It's all good for the body. Now, what about the soul? What about the soul? Soul is a unique creation. Soul is very unique. And neshama is very, very unique. The neshama is an entity that was created that is so holy that it's even holier and bigger than an angel. Can you imagine? And the neshama is an unlimited entity. Unlimited. And where does neshama want to be? Neshama wants to be attached to unlimited. Unlimited goes with unlimited. When you put two unlimited together, they enjoy each other. Unlimited neshama clings to unlimited God. Oh, perfect. But when the neshama, the unlimited, detaches itself from God and goes into dark side called Satan, what is the job of a Satan? Is to limit you. Then you call depression, right? Because a neshama cannot be confined. What is depression? Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, I'm stuck. Fear. Oh, what will be? What will be? Because you're not anchored. You know, remember, you're unlimited. The neshama itself is very unlimited. It has crazy potential. But when you take that unlimited and you put it into limited, it suffers. And that's when a lot of mental illnesses set in. So how do you come out of it? How do you come out of it? The way you come out of it and you go out of the limited, out of the Satan, and attach yourself back to unlimited, that is by learning the laws of emunah and bitachon. Trusting and relying on Hashem, right? When a person trusts and relies on God, wow, I can do impossible. I'm not limited. I'm not bound by any circumstance, by people, I'm not limited. And when a neshama feels that I'm not limited and I'm anchored, I'm attached to the unlimited, many of the psychological issues will go away. And even if that type of lady will ever go through life crisis and will, for whatever reason, develop a depression, let's say she just had a baby, hormonal imbalance, this, that, guess what happens? Because she worked on her emunah and bitachon, guess what happens to her? She bounces right back. Yeah, she'll take medication, maybe she's not going to need it for so many years. She'll bounce back, you know? She might need a little bit of psychotherapy. She's not going to be so dependent on all those things. That's what emunah and bitachon does, that even if chas v'shalom she does ever fall, she'll be able to bounce back. That's the beauty of learning the laws of emunah and bitachon. You should know the neshama is very special. It's higher than the angels. It's higher, you know, before the sin of Adam, what happened to Adam? Angels were serving him. You know the Midrash, right? Angels were serving him. It's only after the sin that we're looking up to angels. But b'ezrat Hashem, a time will come after Mashiach's arrival, angels are going to look up to us. That's how great a neshama is. So when you take a neshama and you limit him, all the fears set in because it can't. It's not anchored. It has nowhere to go. It feels stuck, and that's when depression and anxiety and fears and panic attacks set in. So, how do we, very quickly, ladies, and this is important, if I were you, I would take this serious. How do you get emunah and bitachon? How do you come out of those limitations? How do you not allow the Satan keep you down? How do you do so? Few ways. How do you work on it? Okay. The Mishnah says like this, it says, La'ish b'ma'aneh piv simcha. A man has a joy with the response of his mouth. What does it mean? It means that you have joy by talking. One of the meanings is that if you talk about it, the more you talk about emunah and bitachon, the more your mind hears it and incorporates it. You understand? So, and Baalei Musar say that what is the longest distance? What is the longest distance? What is the longest distance? The longest distance between your brain and your heart. That's the longest, which you know with your head. Do you believe in God? Of course I believe. So why are you panicking? Because it's not incorporated into your heart. How do you get it incorporated? How do you integrate? How do you make it part of you? By constant talking about it, by constant learning. It's not enough to go to a shiur. That's not enough. One time you know. Every single day we should sit and learn. We should talk about it. You come home, you make sure that your family sits and everyone should say a story that happened to them. You won't believe I found an amazing parking. Me'at Hashem, I was shocked. There was zero chance of me getting a parking. Hashem helped me find. You concentrate on those things. You take, this is what Rav Victor Miller says. You take a cookie, you take fruits, and you marvel. You're like, wow, look at the color. Look, the outside is red, the inside is a little more pale, right? And look at the seeds falls. And what about rain? And because of rain, we have all the fruits and vegetables growing, right? And what about snow? The snow is so beautiful. It's like a carpet, People complain about rain. You complain about rain, you release negative chemicals. And the more you're going to train yourself to see a world in a positive light, Bezrat Hashem, your kids going to understand this. And they themselves will become more positive. And you need to talk about it. It's not enough to say, yeah, of course I'm grateful. Like, open up the faucet in your kitchen, like, Baruch Hashem, I have hot and cold water. Amazing. I can take a shower any day any hour of the day. Anytime I want, I can take a shower. Amazing. And you dwell on those thoughts, and you talk about it, and you talk about it with your husband, you talk about it with your kids. And over time, you'll see you'll become a different person. Also, to get rid of all the social media, all the garbage that people post, different talk shows. Stop, because all that negativity just drains the life out of you. So stop all of that. Okay, so that's one way, constantly talking about emunah b'tachon. Two, like I said, concentrate on all the blessings in your life. The Satan has a way to make us concentrate on all the negativity. There's a mashal told that a guy took a handful of salt and put it in a cup of water, and he gave it to a man to drink. There's a depressed man that came to him and said, help me with my depression. So a guy said, okay, no problem. Takes a handful of salt, puts it in a cup of water, and tells him, drink. The guy's like, I can't drink this. So then he takes him to the river and says, come here. He takes a handful of salt, throws it into the river, and says, now drink. The guy said, no problem. He scooped the water and he drank. What's the difference? Take a handful of salt in a cup. That's a lot. A handful of salt in the river, no problem. So the nimshal is, the rabbi told him, he said, you took your tragedy, your problems, and you put it in one cup. It's very hard for you to digest it. But if you realize that your life is river, so many good things. Okay, one handful of salt, one tragedy, one loss, whatever it is, against so many good things, you're not going to take it hard. And that's the job of the Satan. The Satan constantly tries to make us stay focused on the negative in ourselves, in our husbands, in our kids, and blow it out of proportion in your head. We need to fight that. We need to say, no, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to make sure to concentrate only on the good. On the good. Concentrate on the good. And you'll see that B'ezrat Hashem, over time, you'll become a positive person. You'll be smiling. Smile against your own will. Smile against your own will. Doesn't matter what happens, smile. Force it. Sometimes you don't feel like it, smile. And B'ezrat Hashem, with you forcing simcha on yourself, it will come. Eventually, it will become part of you. Third way of instilling emunah b'tachon is to have emunat chachamim, to ask proper counsel, asking rabbanim, what do I do? In any given situation, puts us at ease. We're happy with our decisions like we already discussed. Another way to fight and develop emunah b'tachon is to pray. You have low moments, pray. Rabbano Shalom, please remove all these negative feelings from me. Remove this panic attack, remove this anxiety, remove depression. Make me be happy with everything I have. Help me, please. Cry out to Hashem. Rabbano Shalom, you gave me that. Please take it away. I don't want to feel like this. I want to be happy with everything you're giving me. Okay. Another way to bring bitachon and emunah and just happiness in general is to do chesed. To give, to be giving. Get involved in chesed projects, whether it's helping the poor or the needy or the bedridden people or Tomchei Shabbat or organizing shurim. Everyone will, to everyone a different mitzvah talks. For you, it might be Bikkur Cholim, visiting sick. For her, it might be taking care of the sick children. Everyone has their own call in life. But get involved in chesed. The more chesed you do, the happier you become. It's a proven thing that the people who are involved in constant giving are happier. They're happier. Last but not least, I want to talk about silence. Silent, being quiet, the month of Adar, which is what we're in now, as a month of happiness, right? Marbim b'simcha, we have to increase our joy. And what's the sign of Adar? Dagim, fish. The Klosenberger Rebbe said like this, he says, why? Because fish are silent. Fish is quiet. And when you quiet, you bring upon yourself a lot of joy. Most problems come from wrong conversations, wrong speech. If you have people who are toxic, constantly bring up old stuff, nonsense, and they just ruminate and constant rumination, try to stay away from them. They're just going to bring you down. They're going to bring your mood down. It's not good to stay around them. And for that reason, I actually brought the book. I brought the book on Shmirat HaLashon. When we went to the Shiva call for this family, something amazing. Her husband said that she was very careful with Shmirat HaLashon. She was very careful with Lashon Hara, It's very interesting. So this is a book that will, B'ezrat Hashem, change your life. To read a lesson a day, it will teach you on how to properly view people and situations. There's one page Halacha, the next page thought process. I like that hashkafa that they give. Amazing. I've gained so much. I know that people who have learned this book really gained tremendously. It's really sponsored. The cost price is $16, but because it's sponsored, it's $5 only. Okay, and some of the spiritual resources to combat depression or sometimes the low feelings, to go to website itorah.com, torahintime.com, and type in anything you want. Joy, purpose of suffering, a purpose of creation, olam haba, anxiety, depression, any topic of your choice, you just type, and so many speakers on so many of these topics will really, really put things in perspective for you. That's another good source to go to. To learn Chovot HaLevavot, Shara B'tachon, together with your husband, with yourself, with your friends, Garden of Emunah, Living Emunah. Those are the best books out there to sit and to learn a page a day. Ladies, if we will not work on our Emunah, it will not come to us automatically. And a person with Emunah and B'tachon will be able to storm all difficulties of life. Of course, this is not an answer. Sometimes you do all this and you still feel down. Get professional help. Don't forget, get professional help. And remember, the more relationship we have with Kadosh Baruch Hu, the more we have that closeness to Hashem, the better we'll be able to storm all the difficulties of life. Hashem wants us. Hashem is craving for our prayers. Hashem wants that closeness. Yes, we'll have our ups and downs, but we can overcome them. If you have that relationship with Hashem, you have that closeness, you'll be able to overcome any challenges. And please remember, don't allow exceptions to the rule overtake you. Don't get thrown off. Yeah, you'll hear stories, crazy stories, but don't allow that to drain you or to drag you down and be like, okay, that's it. This is a rule. No more kids, no more. Ask that Torah. Ask the rabbi, what do I do next? How do I struggle this? How do I overcome this challenge? How do I go from here? And B'ezrat Hashem, B'ezrat Hashem, B'ezrat Hashem, with proper outlook, with us working on our emunah and bitachon, it should be a great zuchut for all of us and for this family, for all of her kids, B'ezrat Hashem. All her kids should go on the proper path. Her husband should have a nechama. The Jewish nation should not have any more sorrows. This should be the last sorrow that we ever heard, B'ezrat Hashem. And B'ezrat Hashem, Mashiach Tzidkenu should come. Amen. We should have Tiyat Mitzim already. We should reunite with our loved ones, B'ezrat Hashem. And Hashem should send Mashiach without Yisurim, without Sarot, B'ezrat Hashem. Amen. And I should all see you in good health in the near future, B'ezrat Hashem. Thank you, ladies, for coming. Thank you. And yeah.